Oilers, you got a great offense with Connor McDavid. So I have them sweeping them.
Yeah, well, I don't think you heard my point. The San Francisco Giants have 3 more in the 2010s than the Rangers have in their entire history. So, yeah.
It's hard to get back and to get back-to-back wins. And I don't see the Lightning doing it here, so I have them losing to the Hurricanes in 6.
We don't talk about the 2010s because the 2010s had the Astros. And if the Astros didn't happen, the Yankees would have won in 2017.
He was close to Frank Reich, and they want Frank Reich back, so that's what they got. It's their discount Frank Reich.
Kaprizov and the rest of this crew, Jordan Greenway, who doesn't get enough props. He definitely is somebody who needs to be mentioned more.
Hi, this is Julie Dobbs. You're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. And today we're going to be discussing, I would say, a surprising move as the Raiders released Christian Wilkins. And he was dealing with an injury, and apparently there was disagreement on his rehab process, and that led to the Raiders cutting him and voiding his guaranteed money. But the key thing that I'm interested in your thoughts, Austin, is so he signed a 4-year, $110 million deal. He made $29.2 million last year and $20.5 this year already. So and it depends on how serious this foot injury is. Because if he's not allowed to play if he can't play anymore, then that's a different story. But I do think he can still be productive.
Well, yeah, if he can't play anymore, I don't know why you wouldn't just retire, right? Because now that he's released, the money is, I don't know why we haven't heard any talk about him retiring. I don't think he will. I do have to wonder how long the decision process was for this. How long did they think about making this decision to release him and to void the rest of his guarantees, because he is such a good player. They did offer him a 5-year, $110 million contract. And this does stunt what I thought was going to be at least a solid defense with Wilkins and Max Crosby and some other guys they've added. I wonder how Gino feels about it, or anyone else in the Raiders organization, because I do think this is a major move.
Yeah, and apparently there's a video of him dancing a few days ago at the facility. So it kind of brings in how bad is that foot. And yeah, I would see Max Crosby being upset, because having a presence like Wilkins for him definitely makes his job easier and makes the Raiders better. And I also do find it's interesting how they just voided his guaranteed money, but it appears that Wilkins filed a grievance with the NFLPA in regards to them voiding his guaranteed money.
Yeah, I really wonder how that's going to play out. I think that the Raiders are going to be definitely a worse spot, but okay, this makes me question a lot, because if this was a conversation that was a really long conversation, then I don't know why they didn't sign a couple more guys in free agency, potentially, to fill the void, or maybe draft a little bit differently. But if it was a quick conversation, they decided this week, hey, we're going to do it, then I don't know if they took enough time to wait, because maybe they could have gotten a trade or something, right? Because, again, if this was a split decision, then maybe they could have shopped him a little bit. I just am a little bit confused regarding the timeline of events. I'm sure there'll be more release regarding that. But I don't know if they did shop him and no one wanted him because of the foot injury, or if it was a really quick decision and they just cut him to cut ties, or if this was a really long decision and they knew about this for a while and were discussing it for a while and then finally decided to release him after he didn't meet certain demands. So I'm sure we'll hear more about the situation, but I am extremely intrigued about how how the conversations played out, what role Christian Wilkins played in those conversations, and how the Raiders move forward from this.
Yeah, it'd be hard for me to believe it was a long-term decision of we tried talking with him. it does seem kind of like a split decision. Like, hey, we've been disagreeing about this rehab. We're done. Because, like you said, why wouldn't you replace him? And because he's also for that much money, so why wouldn't you think about what you needed to do? Of we need a presence because you signed him last year, and of course that's under a different administration, but still, Pete Carroll understands defensive line importance. That's what made those great Seahawks teams so good, especially with their secondary, but their defensive line helped that. So
Yeah, I didn't even think about
yeah.
Pete Carroll being a part of. Do you think that he had a major say? I would assume he did.
Yeah, I would because he's the head coach. I would be shocked unless this is an owner move or just a GM. But
But here's my thing.
really,
Here's
yeah.
why I'm confused. Is if this was something that he did say was an injury of last season, how he handled rehab, I would think this is more owner than it is Pete Carroll because Pete Carroll wasn't the coach last year. So if it's
That's a great
about
point.
how he handled rehab and that he didn't take it seriously, because I thought they were going to have him for this year. I know he's still on the PUP list right now, the physically unable to perform list. But I from what I understood, he was going to come back early in the season this year. So I just have again questions regarding how this came about, or if they're just being cheap and just want to try to find a way out of a contract that they don't know yet if it's going to be beneficial to them.
Yeah, I could see cheap because it is a new GM as well as new coach as Pete Carroll. So you could be seeing, you could have that frustrations from the owner, and then you decide to release him to save money.
Yeah.
But yeah, this feels just like a very quick decision and a decision that I really think the Raiders are going to regret it.
Because they released him without shop, I never heard trade talks. I never heard
No.
anyone being off, and that's what makes me think that they're just trying to dump salary, right? So they didn't want anyone back, but they could have got even the. I'm just confused because I feel like they would have gotten something, like if even a 7th round pick, and a 7th round pick is worth more than nothing.
Yeah, and it's hard. I know we're working on our top 10 list, but he was in conversation for me. Defensive lineman.
I don't know if I was going to have him, but he was definitely in conversation for it.
Yeah, and it was when I was thinking about top defensive tackles, I view him like that. But it's when thinking about that. But he was in conversation, so I think it's hard to have an interior presence like that. So I'd be shocked that a team didn't just take a flyer on him.
Yeah,
And now,
even if
yeah,
I don't know. I guess we need to get more information regarding whether or not this is Christian Wilkins just not taking care of his rehab and that he's really not going to get the money. But you also said that he filed a plea with the
NFLPA. Yeah, about the guaranteed money because it's hard for, it's kind of what's going on with Shamar Stewart, but it's guaranteed money. How could you get out of that?
That's again, I don't think we have enough information right now to say, but I do think that this is a story that I'm interested the players again how they feel about it, how Pete Carroll feels about it. I asked a source of mine whether or not he was familiar with the conversations that were happening, and he said he did not. So I do wonder how quick this decision was made, who made the decision, and again what the real motives are, because I feel like they could have got something for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm just looking at Twitter to see. Yeah, so I'm very interested to see how this plays out because there's sure going to be a lot more news. And I'm wondering, so he's making a lot of money. Maybe he wants to go ring chase for a year and signs a cheap deal for 1 year, proves he's healthy, then gets a big deal.
I mean, I don't even know if it would be ring chase, but I do think he'll sign a cheaper contract this year and then get the money he deserves after that to prove that he's healthy.
Yeah. So that kind of concludes just that shockingness. I'm very interested to see what happens. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.